Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 22nd to the 28th of July 2024. So after last week's highly pressurised meeting of Mars and Uranus, the dust begins to settle now. And although we have two aspects happening this week, neither one of them is particularly stressful or active in any way. So we've got a chance to just take stock of the things that came up last week and see with new eyes what the new landscape is now that the dust is clearing and we have more information or a changed view of certain situations. So it's very worth keeping an open mind as we approach Mercury retrograde from the 4th to the 29th of August, but things that come up now are very important, worth keeping a note on, and those will be the things that will have the ability to change during that period. So listen, observe, keep an open mind, be discerning, be independent and be curious in this first phase of Mercury retrograde, having had quite an eruptive week last week. You get to relax this week as the Sun moves into Leo. So Leo is a warm, golden, courageous sign. The sense of abundance as the corn is at its highest, the sun is at its hottest. And there's a sense of expansion and creativity during this month. So Leo the lion, solar plexus and heart-centered ruled. Lion has courage, which comes from the French word cœur, which is the heart. So we're starting with the heart. Like I say, the solar plexus as well, sovereignty of the lion, and basking in our strength, our creativity, our inner light, radiating out, our manifesting ability, what we send out returns back to us. And this month we can afford to be higher self-centered, because the lower aspect of the fire signs is connected to the lower ego, but once we raise our consciousness, then self-centered becomes higher self-centered, which is exactly what we should be. We don't need to be grounded, we need to be centered. Where's the center? The center is the heart. So this all ties together in a beautiful big golden bow. As the sun steps into Leo, we can take up the space that we deserve. The symbol for Leo is a 5-pointed star in geometry, so we can create and shine and enjoy ourselves. 5th sign of the zodiac. It's all about joy and expression and presence, and shining your inner light out to the world. Leo's ruled by the tarot card of strength, so to feel strong we need to be sovereign, we need to be centered, we need to be sure of ourselves, confident in our talents, and able to stand our ground, unapologetically radiating our unique expression. So that's very much the tone for this month with the sun in Leo. We also have Mercury moving into Virgo. So we already know that we're in the first awareness stage of Mercury retrograde, but Mercury moves from Leo into Virgo, taking us into the head, into the mind, and Virgo being a sign ruled by Mercury, then there's a double mercurial aspect here. So on the positive side we've got discernment, seeing the bigger picture, zooming out in order to be able to see the big picture, and then zooming back in order to be able to get the detail. Balance both of those, having the perspective to be able to do that. So if anything did come up last week, then taking a pause, taking a time out, zooming out to see how everything's interconnected, rather than making an emotional attachment to something that has pulled your strings, would be a better approach during this transit of Mercury and Virgo. It's very perceptive, very quick, very intelligent. Downside though is anxiety and overthinking. So anxiety only exists in the mind. The heart can't really be anxious. We can have feelings that accompany anxious thoughts, but it's always the mind that creates anxiety by worrying forwards from things that have happened in the past. So with the sun in Leo taking us to our heart centre, we've got a lovely balance here. If you're feeling too anxious, if you're worrying about the future, if you're regretting things in the past, then can you use the sun in Leo to just come back into your centre, show some gratitude for who you are now, what you've got now, all your abilities and talents, your wonderful unique nature. But anxiety is really something that's skyrocketed over the last couple of generations, overthinking, getting caught in the mind, and that's something that we'll really need to watch during a Mercury retrograde in Virgo. But also at the same time, Mercury retrograde is when we can change our mind. So can we combat anxiety? Can we prevent overthinking? Can we stop worrying into the future and practice greater presence and gratitude under this alignment? But as we know the Mercury retrograde is coming, then the awareness phase that we're in now with Mercury in Virgo, can you start to tune into your time spirals? And by this I mean time doesn't work in a linear fashion, which is even more reason not to worry forwards, but time actually happens in spirals. So when a Mercury retrograde comes along, it can take you back 3 months, 6 months, a year, 7 years, 12 years, and we all have our own personal calendar, which is not just set in stone but keeps evolving. So you may start to notice that things are happening that remind you of 6 months ago, or the last Mercury retrograde, or a time 7 years ago when you were in a similar but slightly different situation. It can bring things back, or it can bring things to closure. But if we start to tune into those spirals now, then we get extra layers to our Mercury retrograde story. We can actually wrap up things that have happened in the long distant past. We can get some answers to things that were coming up during the last Mercury retrograde but weren't resolved. Or we can see that we have maybe a yearly calendar where certain energies always seem to arise at this time of year. So a kind of very general astrological study is to realise that we're in a cyclical and spiral time, and that you have your own unique inner calendar. You can start to work with your own timings and even predict things that will be coming up, or prioritise the best time to do things accordingly. So Virgo is ruled by the Hermit card, which is where we take our light inwards for a journey of inner exploration. So this goes very well with the Sun in Leo. We're naturally, gleefully radiating and enjoying. But then Mercury in Virgo, can we give the mind a job to do? Can we take it inwards? Can we take our light inwards as the Hermit carries the lamp, and turn our focused attention on self-empowerment, letting go of false belief systems, psychological stories, negative inner narratives, which is having the mind working for us, not against us. But at any point this month, if you do start to feel too frazzled, too hot with the Leo sun, or anxious with Mercury in Virgo, then we can dive into the beautiful waters of Neptune retrograde in Pisces. This is a long haul, 6 or 7 month retrograde into the spiritual waters, where, like the eagle in Celtic legend, dive back into the lake of renewal and just rebirth ourselves away from the concerns of the mundane world. So quite a lot of beautiful energy over in Pisces if things get a little bit too hectic. So if you'd like to see whether this is happening for you, I am available, zoehines7@gmail.com. I do offer readings where we can put tarot and astrology together, which does help to make a lot more sense of all the symbols in your chart. And in a Tarotscape reading, we actually recreate your whole chart using the tarot pictorials. So you can actually get a picture of your chart in ways that might be easier to understand, but also provide extra layers of insight. I also offer courses in astrology, tarot and numerology, and coaching sessions if there's anything that comes up that you'd like to release once and for all under these amazing stellar alignments. All sessions are recorded MP3 for you to listen back to, and all the courses come with videos and notes if you'd like to learn for yourself. So a beautiful, hot, sultry week, the Sun in Leo, some intrigue, things to explore, with Mercury moving into Virgo, getting ready to retrograde, but we've always got the option of swimming in the lake of Neptune retrograde. If things get a bit too busy, we can keep the elemental balance. So wishing you a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.